G'day all, Benny Reese West. Going to look at silver in this video. So great week for silver. We all know there's a breakout that has just occurred, a big one. Do we have to be wary in the short term? Pretty obviously the answer is yes, but longer to medium term, I think we're probably on the way. So let's just jump in and have a look. Just starting out here on the weekly. Now, when we've got such a big, important breakout like this, I like to go out to a big picture and just think about what areas above can we think about? Like what gives us a little bit of, something to lean into. Now, we shied away here from the 50 a couple of times just under it, but of course this week on Friday we've broken through. Okay. Now the next big zone I would look at, and why I've marked it out here, is we've just got these. This is on a weekly. Remember, we've got these tops. Actually, if you even come out here to a monthly, if you look at this on a monthly, we've got all these wick rejections. We got this one that got through. I'm going back here to 2012, of course. But we've got all these weekly month rejections that lines up here with the 61.8 of this big move. So that kind of is an area of interest. It seems to me like a bit of a target. It's something that I'd be looking at from above. So what else can we see here? Well, this one maybe not quite as prevalent because we have had a break here of the 61.8 on the way back down here, right? But it's a little bit over. But I think the point remains that if you line the bottom off the top, even though we've got the break there, we've still got the measured move target just shy of that zone. So it just it's just about building confluence, right? We build a bit of confluence into what we can see and just figure out if there's a key area that we need to watch going forward. So I've just come in here to a weekly now. So we know we've got that zone above, and this was the old top that we busted through, right, on what's been an explosive week. But the reason why I said, apart from the fact, obviously, it's rallied extremely quickly, there's a few things that line up here for me that just make me a bit hesitant to think that this will just continue exploding higher straight away without having to have a bit of a rest. So the first one just becomes the general measured move. I might just line that up perfectly. The general measured move off this low. So we've had the move up, the move back down, which just touched over the 61.8. I mean, not a huge amount, but the fact that we got to the target, now we just sat right on top of the second target for the measured move, okay, that the 61.8% extension of the move, okay? So that in itself is like, okay, well, there's one thing that just makes me a little bit, not concerned, concerned's not the right word, but just like, okay, well, is this an area where it makes sense to pause? So that's one thing. The next thing I just look at here is that if I was just going to consider this as a bit of a trading range that we were stuck in, well, we've just expanded right into the 100% of this range. So, maybe it's debatable whether or not, maybe I wouldn't lean into this one super hard because maybe you're going to say, maybe that's more the range. But just looking at the top and the bottom of where we went, where we didn't go anywhere for quite a long time, really. I mean, April 2023 until we really started kicking off sort of here in January. So nearly, maybe even you could argue a little bit longer. So maybe a year. But the fact that that's just run straight into that as well, on top of that measured move, is another one where I'm like, okay. It just is another interesting side note. All these tops here, once we broke through, where do we do? Test back before we went again. Okay, so just a little bit of interesting 101 that I'm sure you saw yourself. I'm just coming in here to the daily and just looking at the structure of the trend that we got going on. When you look at the retracements, I mean, this first one here, this broke. I mean, even though it's held the 78.6 there, I don't know if I can consider that a measured move because it sort of broke too far through the 61.8 for me. But move the pivot forward. Okay, so move the pivot up. Okay, and now where do we get the first retracement? We didn't get one there. Keep going forward. Here's the big one. Touch the 50. Touch the measured move. Okay, so again, it's just another thing there, and maybe you're saying, oh, but you're bending that to make it look pretty. Well, maybe I am, but it wasn't hard to bend it. I mean, it's just there in your face, right? It just I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just there in your face. I don't know. But is that another reason to just pause here and go, well, come on, man, this has been a pretty mighty rip. We come from 26, in only 2 weeks, and we've gone up to 31. That's a big move. So, am I predicting that it's going to go like that? Absolutely not. Am I thinking it might start to do this a bit? Yeah, I'm probably more inclined to think that. Okay, a bit of a comeback, like this, just like this. Okay, just just a pause in the rally to digest this, because this is very steep. It's very fast. We've now, I mean, this isn't exactly a 100% free bar, but the next bar on the 4 hour will be a free bar above the Keltners. Okay, so that doesn't mean that the some sort of retracement or correction is imminent, but it's a lot closer than when they're inside. So you can see here that the free bars ran for quite a few days, quite a few time periods before we started to correct. So I'm just on the lookout for the same thing to do here. Now, I wouldn't advocate trying to short this. I mean, I think shorting this is dangerous because it's strong, it's got no momentum. But like I said, when we come off this and we've got this measured move, okay, if this proves to be the top, it could go further. We might go up and get this, okay? And that's just another marker that lines up with that area that we were talking about. But now I would simply be looking at, the next retracement, okay, which would be back right into here, okay? It doesn't look like a bad area. If it comes back that far, it may not, okay? And this could extend a little, pardon me, this could definitely extend a little bit higher. We'll have to wait and see, and that zone might move up just a little bit more. So we just wait and see. But there's a lot of classic signs here that we might be getting a bit of climax in terms of the buying action, the buying pressure, okay? So I would not be buying into this market here. I'd be waiting for the retrace, but I think trying to short it is uber dangerous. Now, another thing we've got to quickly think about what's happening here with the US dollar. So at this point, I'm just using the dollar index as a proxy for US dollar strength and weakness. Now, I went over this a bit deeper in my gold video, but the same thing remains, right? We've got this move, okay? So what I'm saying is we had the measured move here that hit target, so we went to the next pivot, and now we've had the move up, okay? Now we've just tapped right back into the middle of that retracement zone that tied into all that, and what that precipitated was, well, what that gave us was a perfect measured move back the other way that's come straight to target. So would I expect the US dollar to potentially bounce a little bit from here? Technically speaking, I would, but macro speaking, I'm expecting the US dollar to continue to weaken. I mean, the next move is definitely, you can never say never, but for all intensive purposes, it looks pretty certain that the next move will be a cut. It's just going to be probably time-wise a little bit longer than what everyone wants. But nonetheless, I expect medium to long-term the US dollar weakness is going to continue, and that is going to be helpful for the price of the metals to continue to rally. And so that can lead us into SIL, so into the ETF, the Global Miners ETF. So, it's the same sort of thing. We would just look for the areas above, and this would be the zone where I'm starting to get interested in, and we are starting to get towards that zone. Now, of course, what's happened here, which has been good, is that, okay, we had this top that sort of got tested a few times, and now we've had this is on the weekly, of course, but we've had a very concrete and strong break above that now, okay? So here was that level, and we had an attempt here that sort of failed, but even on this bar, you can see here this fake breakout attempt here, and it was a big crushing volume down day where everyone got flushed out, but this time we're up and away. So we got above it, we've held it sort of tentatively here, but Friday really put the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of anyone trying to short this or sell it at least. And the warning signs were here on the volume on the market profile, because I think the last time I talked about this, I was talking about, this looks like a bit of a fake breakout, and that is a classic fake breakout where we're above that level, even though here we've closed above it, we're quickly rejected and we've come back down. But I guess the proof was here where we and silver was rallying pretty hard now, but we got above, we maintained, we had 2 days up, and now this has been a much more concrete and explosive move away. And so we just keep trending. I mean, this is very steep as well. But the thing about this is there hasn't been any retracement trades to play here. Okay, it hasn't done any sort of retracement. So, I mean, you could take that as an underlying measure of strength for sure. Maybe you're coming back in here and going, okay, well, look, we had a bit of a range here. It's pretty small. Got above it, retested, and now we're breaking away. If we're going to expand that range, where we go, we've already done it. So, it's... Yeah, I think it's just... look, it's pretty obvious, right, that this is, that's going to be any sort of stop out point on a trade is going to be there. So whether or not you can come back, I mean, maybe let's go back down to a 4 hour. There's a bit of a choppy chart, obviously, but maybe you're going to say, well, maybe we had a little range here for a few hours that, maybe we come back to test this. It's really going to be about your risk reward. How far up do you think we can go? But I'd be very wary. What's that? It's $37 to sort of $41. I would expect it to bog down there a little bit for all the aforementioned reasons. But there's no reason to think that this is going to stop anytime soon. It's all going to be about just planning around the little corrections and the retracements that we will no doubt get on the way through, because markets always retrace. It can't be a market unless there's buyers and sellers, okay? And at various times, even in a bullish market, there are going to be times where the sellers sort of take control a bit. So that, they're the times of correction. So this all still looks pretty good. I don't think there's any reason to not be, still optimistic that this is going higher, okay, to challenge this and maybe even get through it. I mean, silver looks very bullish, but I just think in the short term, next week, you're just looking out for that retracement, looking out for that correction to see if you can establish some sort of trade off that. So a bit shorter this week, but I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye for now.